G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I've got the, well, for some people, long awaited, but it's a little update on our 2022 WMR, or the 22 Magnum, in sort of an ELR, precision ELR project that I started a couple of years ago now. Been actually waiting all season I should say, for some conditions that would work. We had a bit of a peculiar season this time round, with a very late harvest, very hairy harvest, so lots of straw and things around the place, and really all the places that we can do the sort of thing I want to get to, which is 500, 600 yards, will be the next step with this little project, and be able to see things and make it work. So it was complicated and didn't really find those conditions. And really we haven't still got them, and we're almost at winter, so it turns into, or almost heading into the wetter season. Maybe there's some more opportunities coming up, but we'll see. Supposedly rain next week, so maybe there's not. But that can be the nature of firearms sometimes. They can be long-winded projects to try and get there. As a quick recap for what I was up to, it's a rimfire project, and there is rimfire 22s and reloading rimfires and all sorts of stuff that's happening in cutting edge bullets and making bullets for them, and there's different things for different competitions. In the 22 rimfire, that's a different thing. If what I've done with that sort of stuff, we've got it to 1,000 yards just using factory ammo. Fun to do, all nice. This was sort of an idea of a little step up from that, a bit of a step up from that. Beginning of hand loading sort of thing, but also just seeing what I could do and trying to make a 22 Magnum work properly. Which in my mind, as much as there's people who've got them and love them and think they're the best in the world, and I don't want to take anything away from them, my opinion, what I've seen, and a lot of the world is sort of a little bit on those eyes, is the 22 Magnum is something that doesn't quite work as accuracy and doesn't quite provide the promise of, or what it seems to promise. And what we're largely talking about there is the ammo, and a little bit the rifles. The twist in them isn't quite up to speed. They really run, a lot of the old stuff does this. They run a 1 in 16 twist is pretty common, 1 in 14 is fast, 1 in 16, 1 in 18 twist is what they run, and made for shooting little rounds, and really 50, 100 yards is what they're, 150 yards, what they're made for, plinking to hunting, you know, where it's feral or varmint or whatever it is, where you can actually shoot things. Quite a capable round and can do more than that, but that's what they're sort of designed as a long while ago. And my simple logic was, well, to work out how to make the round a little bit better, which I built this little round here for, and went through some various processes, and basically it comes from pulling the factory projectile out and putting a good 22 projectile in. To make that work, I found quickly that I needed more twist, so I have a 1 in 8 twist barrel in 22 is what I put in. I found an action that was nice and strong to be able to, it's not pinned together or things like that, it's normal screwed together in a decent strong little action, and that is this Lithgow, 22 Magnum Lithgow we have here. So I found that. Then we went through and did it as thoroughly as we could do, is the other bit of what we're going on here. So we've got a barrel with enough twist. We've got a round, which took a little bit to get here. This is actually a 52 grain Berger target round. So a proper little, it's not an ELD, but it's still a proper, a decent ballistic coefficient, raising from a 0.12 sort of ballistic coefficient to a 0.23, 0.25 potentially I can get to, or even further, depending on what we do. But that's what I've got out of this. By putting them back in, crimping all the bits and pieces I went through to make them work properly, and I'm only using the factory loading inside the case, so maybe with a lot of effort get a little bit more out of it in the way of a little bit more consistency. And we could do more 100-yard testing and group testing, all that sort of stuff in short ranges. Not set up for it, not easy to do on the property I'm on. Also not something I'm super happy doing, not something I really like doing. So getting to where I went to, which is 600 yards, we're getting to shortly, was really what I was getting to test things and see what it really did. And it wasn't just about accuracy, it was also making them more efficient. So less bullet drop with a better BC, more consistency, better able to deal with the wind and all those bits and pieces. So barrel projectile or round, Then this is actually a little chassis, which I've done a little bit of work with to change into what I wanted to be, but it's from the Southern Cross Small Arms. So a little chassis that's made to go with the Lithgow. I tightened up the lock, so this is all locked up solidly here. Milled a little bit out of the front here to run one of my bipod systems. So this is one of my component Ds that runs my component A, which is my part of the bipod system. And then these are some Atlas legs. I also have my solid feet on here. So really doing everything as thoroughly as possible. Little custom muzzle brake, doesn't need one, but it really, the logic of, I suppose it's a little bit aesthetics, but there's also, if there's anything in the way of harmonics or the tuning of the thing that actually can settle things down, I have great success when I use them everywhere else, so I put it on there. Really, I could just go with aesthetics. It looks like a proper little rifle at that level, but as to whether it's worth anything or not, I really couldn't tell you. Certainly not needed for recoil. The rest of it, it's got one of our bag riders down the back here. So like I said, doing things thoroughly, shooting it from a bag in a bipod, and that's the process. And on top here, one of the little NX8s, what do they call it? The Night Force scopes on the top here, sitting in an air attack base, which means I can dial this thing in to get lots of elevation if I want it, and everything is really ready to go. We also can run one of the wedge or Charlie Chirac on here to go to really long if we want to go there, but that's what this is set up to do. So that's where we're at that sort of level. The last bits I had to do from this time was actually these are a CZ magazine, and I just had to get that round in there in what you're looking at there. I took a tiny bit, just a round file through the front edge here to give myself a tiny bit clearance, and then that is a magazine loaded with 10 rounds. So magazine fed, proper little bullets, getting all the ducks in line. So went out, had some shots, and this is what I can show you. We started off with just some 50 grain Federal rounds, which I found worked well in other things as well.
Bottom right. One target low, one target right.
Okay, they're all with the same hold now.
Radio. Tall and left. One target left, level the top edge. Bottom left. Half target low, half target left. Bottom left. One target low, one target left. Bottom left. Half target low, half target left. Bottom left. One target low, one target left.
This little rifle here, which is just a old but very good, hardly used Anschutz rifle, with actually a full set trigger, nice little barrel, 1 in 16 twist. I've just bolted on bits and pieces. They will unbolt. So I've got one of my adjustable bag riders, angle bag riders on the back there. It's just got a little adapter for the swings level stud at the front there and an Atlas bipod, and then just stuck on this Hawk scope. So enough to be able to get an accurate shot with it, so I'm not compromising anything in testing. And this shot really well. It actually shot probably a tiny bit better, or about maybe the same too, a little bit better with the Federal ammo, with the factory stuff, but it couldn't shoot the modified stuff. Not enough twist in it.
Pretty good, little 22.
Yeah.
Can that, what it actually shoots like.
Left and low. 2 targets low, 2 targets left. Did not see. I think it might have been just on the left at 9 o'clock, but I didn't see. Oh, bottom left corner, just off. Oh, bottom right corner. Man, that's close. Top right, half target tall, level the right edge. Left, top left corner, just off. Man, that was
so anyway,
a
that
tight
was just a benchmark just to actually go from and compare in the same day. The only thing I would qualify and say that the day was terrible. It was supposed to be a lot better than that. It's supposed to be 8 k's of wind, so 5 miles an hour wind, and it wasn't anything like that. Unfortunately, it was up in the 15 miles an hour and the 20 k an hour wind, and fairly erratic. So it was a bit of a fail of a day. I still got an idea of test. The accuracy is the main thing I couldn't really test in any proper level, but it was okay. What I did find, and exactly what I was hoping for, is that little projectile, in the fashion of that little round, I should say, with that projectile in it, was far more efficient.
Top right, half target tall, level the right edge. Left, sorry, left. Bottom right, half target right, half target low. Bottom right, wow, that was just off. Bottom right, half target right, half target low. Right, bottom right, level the bottom edge, quarter of target right. Hit! Yay!
So
awesome.
a lot better.
Swinging.
Like I said, terrible day. I'm not
And
going to do too much of the data at this stage. I really hope to get a better day this year, to actually go through and prove things a little bit more and actually find out what the accuracy is. The little bit I did shoot, I went through and actually shot about 30. I had 30 rounds of that sort of stuff, so I shot 30 rounds in working things out and doing bits and pieces, and it's rimfire stuff. And I actually found the barrel it feels like it's one of those barrels that's going to take a little bit to settle in. It's got better and better and better and better and better and better and better every time I shot it. So I showed the last lot of what it shot like, but it was just improving. Being a little rimfire, being what this is, we're pushing the boundaries on, it's all a little bit different. I got a feeling it's really going to take a little while to bed in, to carbon up and to basically do the normal things of what a centerfire does or any other rifle does. But we are running a proper little jacketed round made to be in something that's doing 3,000 feet per second or 3.5 or 4,000 feet per second, whereas we're actually only running back down in half of that. So there's a little bit more to take into it, but it seems to be working really well. My hope was to build something that was a lot more efficient, so you're not having to point up at the sky so much, and to get a little bit more consistent. And we've already seen that, so it's been very successful. If you go back and look at our previous videos, I go through what we did, both from a little crimper that I modified something into it. And like I said, the previous videos go through more of what I did there, but the crimp was important. At this moment, I'm just using what's in the case. So pulling the projectile out, making sure it's clean, there's no powder stuck to the bottom of it. So you got all that was in there, and then pushing the projectile, the new one, back in, and then crimping it. As simple as that. Doesn't take a whole long time, easy to go through and do a box of 50 without too much trouble. And at this stage, this 52 grain has been okay. I really need to test more. So for those people who are trying to, who want to see more information, listen, sorry, on this project, listen, like I said, been a hard year for that sort of stuff. We're very busy doing lots of things, as you'd all be aware, all largely at our own cost, by the way. We aren't a $1 million YouTube channel by any means. But listen, not complaining about that, but we do have to fit things in, and we need the conditions to do that sort of stuff as well. So that's the update for the moment. Maybe we'll get back to it this year. Maybe we'll get another opportunity. I sort of am ready to. The conditions are sort of there. As long as it doesn't rain next week, then we might be able to get out and ideally find a better spot than that. Shooting uphill into that spot there was not comfortable, and the wind is going to be more erratic shooting into that sort of terrain. If I can get out over the flat area there in some places where they've just burnt and use those paddocks, like I said, if it doesn't rain, that's conceivable. Hopefully we get that chance. In the questions of asking for where you get the crimping gear and that sort of stuff, it's not something that we're selling or making, not something we could do on that side of things. There is more in descriptions and what you can see is going on, but it really is much more a hands-on tinkering sort of project. And yeah, there is some results at the other end of the rainbow. Anyway guys, thanks for checking in. We'll catch you next time.